What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today I'm going to share some of my thoughts about AMC and the new APE stock that's trading alongside it. It's not going to be the most positive video regarding these two stocks, but if you're a big bull on these stocks, then it's something that you should at least hear and listen to and hear an outside perspective from someone who's recently sold AMC and has just done some thinking about it lately and just, get something else in your mind besides complete 100% vision on AMC squeezing to the moon, because there are other opinions out there, and it's important to listen to them at least, and then you can always make your own decisions whether or not to believe them, right? This isn't financial advice. I'm just going to share some of my thoughts regarding AMC and some things I've been thinking about since I've sold. And one of the things that I'm going to talk about is not necessarily a conspiracy theory, right? Although those are always fun to talk about, but it is just a thought that I've had. I don't necessarily think this is 100% happening, but a potential issue that I see with AMC stock is that the underlying business, the movie theater chain, doesn't seem like it has too much of a long-term future. Sure, there might be a big influx of traders who all of a sudden decide they want to pump the stock again, but if you're holding this for the long term, it's a bit of a dangerous thing to do, in my opinion, and for a couple of reasons. One, obviously the stock has lost a lot of value over both the short term and, since it did pump up initially, the long term. And it's possible, in my opinion, that potentially the ape movement has been commandeered and taken over by people who don't necessarily have your best interests at heart. They might just be telling you to buy in because they're potentially, if you're on a forum just reading people, if you don't actually see their face and know who they are, it could just be, workers at hedge funds or institutions or people working for wealthy elite who, and this is going to sound a little conspiracy theory-ish, who want retail to be holding cruddy stocks, right? And by cruddy stocks, I don't mean that AMC is just, a bad stock in general, but the movie theater chain doesn't seem to have too much of a long-term future. I don't think that a lot of people are expecting movie theaters to really make a huge comeback and become hugely profitable. In fact, I think that movie theaters will only continue to decline in popularity as streaming services become more and more prevalent. And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of people are dumping most of their net worths, or not most of their net worths, but most of their investing net worths into AMC stock. A lot of the apes are, at least, or at least they're putting significant, massive percentages of what they have to invest into AMC, hoping that it will squeeze, and are potentially missing out on some of the longer term gains that could be coming. And it almost seems to me like a lot of the institutional investors and hedge funds who want more fundamental plays, potentially more technology-based stocks to be cheaper, are almost directing people towards AMC, right? They almost want people to be buying into AMC and just holding it for the long run, knowing that movie theaters aren't going to be the future and that over the next 10 years, AMC probably, unless it really maintains just a movement of people who are looking to buy it, probably isn't going to be doing too well. Whereas a lot of these tech-based stocks that have massive growth in the future that are really making world-changing technologies could be doing incredibly well. And it seems like they're almost just directing retail into AMC because they don't want retail to be holding the next Microsoft or the next Apple, the next Google. They don't want new people to be coming into wealth. They want to expand their own wealth. And that's a potential fear that I have with AMC. It's not a guarantee. Obviously, I could be wrong. It's just a suspicion that I have. That a lot of the wealthier elite, at the very least, even if they're not directing people towards AMC, they're happy to see people holding it and not investing right now in these more technology-driven, world-changing stocks, right? Some of the new up-and-comers. And a lot of the people holding AMC do firmly believe that it's going to squeeze at some point, and maybe it will. But at this point, now that APE stock has come out, it almost just seems, in my personal opinion, more like not necessarily a pure scam, but the kind of thing where the only way that AMC is going to be able to continue surviving is by diluting more and more and taking more and more money from the shareholders, not really returning that value to them. And it almost seems like a zero-sum game, right? Because new value isn't being created with AMC. They're not becoming more and more profitable necessarily. It just seems like they're going to keep shrinking over the next 10, 20 years. because movie theaters are going to become less and less popular. I know they're investing in some other businesses like gold mining and that kind of stuff, but it really doesn't seem like the kind of self-sustaining stock that you would like to be holding over the long term. And this new ape stock is just, in my opinion, another way for them to collect from retail investors who are investing in AMC and to use that to sustain themselves, to continue paying out their CEO salaries and their management teams and all that, and just keep AMC running for longer than it otherwise would if it didn't have a massive crowd of people supporting it. And, we've got a couple of quotes that I think are quite relevant to the situation. Rick Warren said, "We are products of our past, but we don't have to be prisoners of it." Now, this applies to everything, not just, holding AMC stock, right? If you're AMC APE and you really believe in the stock, or at least you did in the past, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to continue doing that and you have to continue plowing most of your investable income into AMC. You can put it in whatever you want. And obviously, I know that making this video, some people are going to be pretty angry. I expect a lot of nasty comments and dislikes on this video. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, I just want to share my honest opinion and not necessarily succumb to the whims of the crowd and the masses. I just want to be honest with you guys about what I'm thinking and share some interesting ideas that I think I have. But a lot of people are probably scared to do that. They probably think, all right, if I'm in AMC, I have to keep buying in. I have to keep putting more money in or holding it or whatever. And that's not the case. You don't really have to be a prisoner to something just because you've done it in the past. And that applies to everything, right? It's not just investing, but also if you have a job that you don't like, that you've been working at a long time, you can always quit and find something new. Obviously, you want to be in the financial position where you can do that, but it applies to everything, relationships and friendships, all kinds of stuff. And the second quote we have is from John Dewey. He says, "We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience." So just because you guys may have made mistakes in the past doesn't mean you're necessarily learning from them unless you actually take time to reflect and think about what was done wrong. So if you guys have seen, your accounts shrink dramatically over the past couple of months or even the past year plus, if you invested in AMC near the peak and are still waiting for that short squeeze, you could view it as a mistake. Maybe you view it as AMC was still a great investment and it's about to pop, and that's okay. It's possible that it will. Maybe a new influx of investors will plow into AMC and shoot it up to the moon. That's possible. I personally don't think it's going to happen at this point, but you can think that if you want. But if you don't think that anymore necessarily, it's not just the best thing just to sell it off and not think about it and write it off, but to think about what happened, right? Were there people when AMC was $70 that were telling you it's going to be huge, it's going to be the next big thing, it's going to squeeze to 1,000? And did they have anything that you could look at, outside of what they were telling you? Was there any actual information that made you believe that? Or was it mostly just them telling you stuff and then you didn't do any research on your own? Was there anything that you could learn from that situation? So that's just an important thing, I think, in life, right? Any kind of negative experience that you have, it's important to reflect on and think about how you could avoid similar things in the future and always make the best decisions for yourself looking forward. And obviously, guys, none of this is financial advice. I just wanted to share my opinion on AMC. After having kind of gotten out of the ape mentality, I've changed my opinion a bit. A lot of people are going to say this is FUD, this is a bunch of nonsense, and I'm just trying to get people to sell the stock. I'm not. I'm just sharing my opinion for anyone who's interested and curious about hearing it. So other than that, guys, keep in mind, not financial advice. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.